Okay, after completing both sections of the collar, I've gone to my local craft store and I've purchased some very spring-like buttons. You can, take whatever you prefer to use for these. You're going to need 4, and I'm going to sew them to the edge, carefully lining them up right there on the cable stitch on both of these, and I'm going to be sewing them with the color that actually matches the green. Do whatever you'd like here depending on what buttons you get. So I'm going to go ahead and sew these on with my needle and thread, and then I'll show you from there what I have. Okay, I have just completed sewing on these buttons to both sides, and you can go ahead and put the buttons through the buttonholes. Also make sure the buttons that you choose are not too big or too small. They want to be able to go through this space, and it's going to vary in size depending on whether you're making the child size or the adult size. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Now, technically, the buttons can hold this collar together, but I'm going to recommend you go ahead and we're going to make a little stitch, or I guess what you call a dart, right here. I'm going to show you how to do this. Doesn't have to even show, but just you want it to stitch together, and it's going to hold these loose ends, hold them together. Okay, so just do this a couple of times. This is mostly for aesthetics, just to hold those ends down. I'm going to do it one more time. And notice I'm using the same color thread as the yarn so that we're not drawing attention to this. And then I'm going to go ahead and knot this. So I'll go ahead and finish this up. I'm going to do that one more time just so it doesn't come undone. Just try that. And run it underneath our work, and then I'm going to give it a clip. As close to the work as possible, but without hurting anything. There we go. So I've done one little dart there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do another one right down here where these ends are, and then of course we're going to match that by doing it on both of the other sides right here and here. So go ahead and do that, and then we'll begin working on the body of the poncho, and I promise you that part's going to go a lot faster than the collar will. Okay, now I've sewn both of the buttons on. I have both of the ends tacked like I showed you. It just makes it much more secure, and it just gives it a better appearance. I should have also mentioned that I've gone ahead and I hid the loose strands that were hanging from both of them, both of the sides. So I went ahead and got rid of those before I sewed them on so they wouldn't get in the way of the needles and such. All right, so now we're ready to start the body. Okay, now we're going to start on the lower poncho, and we're going to work along the bottom edge of the collar on the wider side. You can really join it anywhere you would like. I'm going to actually join it here because it's a similar color. It really doesn't matter, but I'm going to go ahead and join. And I'm going to single crochet in that first stitch where I joined, and then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to skip the next stitch, which is this stitch, and then we're going to single crochet in the next. Okay, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip the next stitch, single crochet in the next. And we're going to do this all the way around. 1, 2, 3, skip the next stitch, and let's not do that. There we go. Single crochet. So let me show you what we're doing. We're just doing this all the way around. When we get all the way around, and we're going to come back here and we are going to slip stitch into the first single crochet. We should have a total of 68 chain 3 spaces. You're going to want to make sure that you stop to check to verify how many you have, and if you don't have 68, you're going to need to maybe slightly adjust at the join here, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, as I worked around, I did have to make one slight adjustment to make the 68 number come out. I just had to actually single crochet in the next single crochet just in one instance, and I was able to get my 68 68 loops completed, or chain 3 loops. Okay, so when we get to the end, we're just going to slip stitch to that very first single crochet, just like so. Okay, now we're ready to begin round 2. And in order to do that, we're not going to chain, we're actually going to slip stitch into that next chain space like this, and then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to double crochet. Now this chain 3 does act as or serve as a double crochet for this round and for this pattern. Okay, after we do that, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to single crochet in the next chain space, chain 3 space, which is this. Then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to work 2 double crochets in the next space, 1, 2, and then we're going to repeat that around, chain 3, single crochet in that next chain 3 space, chain 3 again, and 2 double crochets in the next space. So that's going to be your repeat all the way around. Okay, at the end of round 2, we worked a single crochet in that last chain 3, then I'm going to chain 3, and then I'm going to join with the slip stitch in the top of that chain 3, which also serves as a double crochet. Now we're going to slip stitch in that next double crochet, and then we're going to work a slip stitch in the chain 3 space. I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to single crochet in that space, just like so. Chain 3, and this is what we're going to do all the way around. We're just going to work a single crochet in that chain 3 space, chain 3, single crochet in the next chain 3 space, and we're going to do that all the way around the cape. At the end of this round, you're just going to join to the top of that single crochet with a slip stitch. Now it has occurred to me that it's maybe a little confusing as to where the row begins and where the row ends, and if that's the case, please feel free to use a stitch marker in the first stitch of the round as you go around, so that you know that this is the end, because it'd be very easy to just crochet over this and then just keep doing the same loops. Okay, that would not be a good thing to do. So go ahead, and I would encourage you, go ahead and use a stitch marker so that you know where the beginning of the rows are. Okay, now to begin round 4, we're going to work a slip stitch and a chain 1, and then a single crochet right there in that chain 3 space. This kind of minimizes, the transition from one round to the next. Okay, after we do that, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to work 2 double crochets in the next space. Then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to work a single crochet in the next space. So that is going to be our repeat all the way around. Chain 3, 2 double crochets worked right in that chain 3 space, chain 3, and then a single crochet worked in that next space. Now you know you're doing it right if your single crochets are above the single crochets 2 rows below, or 2 rounds below. You have the double crochet and the double crochet. Okay, so go ahead and work that all the way around. Okay, round 4 ends with me working 2 double crochets in that last chain 3 space, chain 3, and then join with a slip stitch to that single crochet. Also just want you to notice that we're not turning at the end of the rounds, we're just continuing to go around and around. Okay, so now we're going to slip stitch into the next chain 3. This is beginning round number 5. I'm going to chain 1 and then single crochet in that place. Okay, after I do that, I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to single crochet in that next chain 3 space, and we're going to do that all the way around. This is pretty much the same as round 2, or very similar to. Chain 3 and single crochet in that next chain 3 space. Chain 3, single crochet in the next chain 3 space, and go ahead and do that all the way around for round 5. And round 5 ends the same way by working a chain 3 and then a slip stitch in that first single crochet of the round. Okay, now we're to begin round number 6. We're going to work a slip stitch, chain 3, and we're going to work 2 double crochets into that same chain 3 space. Okay, so we're going to be increasing the number of double crochets on this round. Okay, after that we're going to chain 3. We're going to single crochet in the next space, chain 3, and we're going to work 3 double crochets in the next space. Whoops, let me, I just want to show you that. So I have 3 here, so we have 2 down here, but we have 3 for this round. So that's going to be your repeat. Okay, we're going to chain 3, single crochet, chain 3, and then we're going to work 3 double crochet, working in these chain 3 spaces. Okay, so go ahead and do that all the way around. The last stitch you're going to be working a single crochet in that last chain 3 space. So go ahead and work that around, and I'll show you the join. Okay, I've worked my last single crochet of this round in that chain 3 space. I'm going to chain 3, and I'm going to join to the top of that chain 3, which is actually doubles as a double crochet. Okay, now we're going to make our way across these other double crochets using a slip stitch. So we're going to slip stitch in the next stitch, slip stitch in that next double crochet, and then slip stitch in that chain 3 space, chain 1, single crochet. That's a single crochet in that chain 3 space, and this is the chain 3 and single crochet in that next chain 3 space all the way around, chain 3 and single crochet in that next space, chain 3 and single crochet in the next chain 3 space. So go ahead and work that all the way around. Okay, just to be clear, this is row number 7 that we're working on. Just want to make sure I stated that correctly. This is row 7, the chain 3 and single crochet in the chain 3 spaces. Okay, to end row 7, we chain 3 and single crochet in that first stitch of the round. Okay, we're going to slip stitch. We're going to begin round 8 with a slip stitch into that chain 3 space, chain 1, single crochet, chain 3, and then we're going to work 3 double crochets into the next chain 3 space, chain 3, and a single crochet in the next space, and that is going to be your repeat, chain 3, and then 3 double crochets in the next chain 3 space, chain 3, single crochet in the next space. So go ahead and do that all the way around. Round 8 ends by working a slip stitch in that first single crochet. Now remember, if you need to use a stitch marker to know where that stitch is, feel free to do that. Okay, so now at this point, rounds 9 through 10 say to repeat rounds 5 through 7. Okay, rounds 5 through 7. Let's go ahead and take a look at these rounds. See 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so round 5 is the round with the single crochet and chain 3 worked in each chain 3 space. Row 6 is the one with the 3 double crochets and chain 3 and then single crochet. Round 5, 6, 7 is another round of the single crochets. Okay, now we're ready to begin row number 12, which begins by working a slip stitch in that first chain 3 space, chain 1 and a single crochet. And just to show you, you should know this by now, if you're wondering whether to do single crochet or do the double crochets, the single crochets are together and the spaces, the chain 3 spaces with the double crochets are together. Okay, so for row number 12 now, we're going to chain 3 after we make that single crochet, and instead of 3, we're actually going to work 4 double crochets. We're increasing here as we go. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to work 4 double crochets, chain 3, single crochet in the next chain 3 space, chain 3, and work 4 double crochets in the next chain 3 space. So that is your repeat for round number 4. So go ahead and do that all the way around. Row 4 ends the same way we've ended the other rows, like this, by working a slip stitch in that first single crochet of the round. Now we're going to begin row 13. We're going to slip stitch into that next chain 3 space. After we do that, we're going to chain 1 and we're going to work a single crochet. Now this is what's going to be a little different about this round. Instead of chaining 3, we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then work a slip stitch. A single crochet in that next chain 3 space. So we're going to be chaining 4 as we go around, and then a single crochet in the next chain 3 space. Chain 4 and single crochet in that next chain 3 space. So go ahead and work that all the way around using 4 chains. Okay, row 13 ends by joining with a slip stitch with that first stitch of the round. And beginning round 14, we're going to slip stitch into that first chain 4 space, and then we are going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to work 3 double crochets in that same chain 4 space. Okay, so that turning chain that we formed here serves as that 4th double crochet. So we're only going to do 3 double crochets in this space here. Okay, after we do that, we're going to chain 3, and then we're going to single crochet in that next chain 4 space. It's going to get confusing here. Chain 3, and then we work 4 double crochets in the next space. I'm just going to call it the next chain space. Okay, so just to be clear, we're going to work 3 chains in between the single crochets and the double crochets, just like we did down here on row number 12. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to do this all the way around. That would be chain 3, single crochet in the next space, chain 3, and 4 double crochets in that next chain space. Okay, so go ahead and work that all the way around. We're going to end round 14 by working a slip stitch in that top of the chain 3. Now we're going to go ahead and go right into round 15. We're going to slip stitch our way into each double crochet across. Let me get all the fibers through. There we go. And into that chain space. After we do that, we're going to chain 1, single crochet in that chain space, the same one, chain 4, just like we did 2 rows previous, and then single crochet in that next chain space, chain 4, and single crochet in the next chain space, chain 4, and single crochet in that next chain space. So we're going to do that all the way around. At the end of round 15, we're going to join with a slip stitch to the first single crochet of the round, just like we've been doing. And now we're ready to begin round 16. We're going to work a slip stitch, a chain 1, and a single crochet in that chain space. And then we're going to chain 3, and we're going to work 4 double crochets in the next chain space. Chain 3 and single crochet in the next chain space. Okay, just going to repeat that around, chain 3 and then work 4 double crochets in that chain space. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that all the way around. Chain 3, single crochet, and just to remind you again, make sure that when you're working the single crochets that you see the line of the single crochets here, and when you're working your double crochets that you see that it's aligning with the double crochets. Okay, so go ahead and work that all the way around. At the end of round 16, we're just going to join with another slip stitch to the top of that first single crochet of the round. Okay, now for round 17, the instructions say to repeat round 13. So let's take a look at round 13. It says to slip stitch, chain 1, and single crochet in the next chain space. Then we're going to chain 4, single crochet in the next chain space, and we're going to do that all the way around. Chain 4 and single crochet in that next chain space, chain 4 and single crochet in that next chain space. So go ahead and do that all the way around. We end row 17 with another slip stitch to the first single crochet of the round, and now we go on to row number 18. We work a slip stitch, a chain 1, actually a chain 3 in the same place as joining, and then we're going to work 4 more double crochets. Oops, let me try that one again. So let me show you this again. So we do chain 3, which serves as a double crochet, and then we do 4 more double crochets. So now we're bumping the number of double crochets this round up to 5. We're going to chain 3, single crochet in the next chain space, chain 3. We're going to work 5 double crochets in the next chain space. Okay, I'll do that one more time. Chain 3, and we're going to single crochet the next chain space, chain 3, and we're going to work 5 double crochets in the next chain space. That's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so go ahead and work that all the way around. At the end of round 18, we're just going to join with the slip stitch and the top of that turning chain, and we're going to slip stitch in each stitch across, that is working through the tops of those double crochets, and then we're going to slip stitch into that chain 3 space. And this, just like round 15, round 19 is a repeat of round 15. We're going to single crochet, chain 1 single crochet, chain 4, and then single crochet in the next chain space, chain 4, and single crochet in the next chain space. So let's go ahead and do that all the way around. Round 19 ends with a slip stitch in that first single crochet of the round, and now we're ready to begin round 20. We're getting close to the end, everybody. We're going to do a slip stitch, chain 1, and a single crochet in that very first chain space. We're going to chain 3. We're going to work 5 double crochets in the next chain space. Okay, let's get them through. So that's 5 double crochets, chain 3, single crochet in the next chain space, chain 3, and you know the rest, 5 double crochets in the next chain space. So go ahead and work these all the way around. And again, just as a reminder, make sure that as you're working these double crochets that you see a stack of double crochets, and when you work your single crochets that you see the single crochets. We end row 20 with a chain 3 and then a slip stitch to the first single crochet of that round. Okay, now we're ready to go on to round 21, which is a repeat of round 13. So we're going to do a slip stitch, a chain, and a single crochet in that next chain space, chain 4, and single crochet in the next chain space. We're going to do that all the way around. So chain 4 and single crochet in the next chain space, chain 4 and single crochet in that next space. Okay, at the end of round 21, we're just going to join with the slip stitch like we've been doing. And for the next 2 rounds, rounds 22 and 23, we're going to go back and repeat rounds 18 and 19, which is pretty much what we've been doing. So we're going to go ahead and slip stitch in the next chain space, chain 3, and we're going to add 4 more double crochets to this, because that turning chain, like we did back in round 18, it counts as a double crochet. Okay, then we're going to chain 3, single crochet in the next chain space, chain 3, and then work those 5 double crochets. Okay, so after we do that round, we will join to the top of the chain here, and then I'm going to go ahead and give you the next round as the assignment, round 23, which is a repeat of round 19, which is using the single crochets and 4 chains in between. So go ahead and complete those 2 rounds, and then we'll work the last round together. Now that brings us to the end of round 23. I'm going to go ahead and end with a slip stitch to the first single crochet of the round. Now at this point, we've completed all the rounds except for the last round for the children's size poncho. If you're making the adult size, you're going to need to go back and repeat rounds 20 through 23. So you're going to have 4 more rounds before you do the final round that I'm just about to show you now. So if you're going to complete the adult poncho, you need to go back and repeat rows or rounds 20 through 23 one more time. Okay, now beginning the final round, I'm going to make a slight adjustment from the pattern. The pattern says to do what I'm going to do in this space, and I think that's incorrect. So I'm just going to have you do a slip stitch in the next single crochet, in the next chain 3 space, a chain 1, and a single crochet, and then in the next space we're going to work We're not going to do any chains. Notice that. We're going to work 4 double crochet. Let's go ahead and do that. That's 4. Then we're going to chain 3. We're going to do a slip stitch in the top of that double crochet, just like that. That creates a little picot. And then we're going to do 4 more double crochet. Okay, so this is what we've made there. Okay, so after we do that, we're going to single crochet in the next chain space. Notice that I didn't add any chains in between the single crochets and in between the double crochets. So let's go ahead. I'll do that for you one more time. So in the next space, and these will be the spaces where you've already had the column of double crochets, we're going to work 4 double crochets, chain 3, slip stitch by working in that top of that last double crochet, and then 4 more double crochets. Okay, remember we're not chaining now. We're just going to do a single crochet in that next chain space. Okay, so go ahead and work that all the way around the bottom. Okay, now we've come to our last join, and we are just going to join with a slip stitch to that first single crochet. Okay, the directions do say to join to the first double crochet, but you can join to the first single crochet and that would be fine. Let's give it a little loop, give it a tug. Now I'm going to cut a nice long strand for hiding, and just go ahead and pull that through just like so. And so we have completed our poncho. There's a better picture at the beginning of the video of this poncho, but now I want to show you one real quick thing on how to hide the loose threads that are left. Now you're going to have to kind of be careful with this, that you hide the color underneath the appropriate color if you don't want those threads to show. So go ahead, thread that yarn needle. I'm going to hide the last stitch just by going down into the last area there. See, now that little knot is sufficiently hidden, and I'm actually going to run it under all of these stitches here, all 8 of those double crochets, and that should be plenty of space to hide that so you don't see it any longer. Very carefully cut that thread, give it a little tug so it's hidden underneath those stitches, and that is how you can hide any remaining threads that you have. So just go ahead and make generous use of that yarn needle, and it will be your friend for hiding these threads and finishing this project up as quickly as possible. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed the Dubonnet Poncho. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. Just hit that little subscribe button, and that way you won't miss any of the new videos that I'll be posting. God bless. Bye-bye.